I have out on my screen the Creating Curves demo. Can be found on your hard drive under the Matrix 6 Demos and Curves folders. Um, this is great for practicing creating and working with curves, whether it be an arc or a circle or a rectangle or whatever it might be. Now, the examples that we're going to go by are in the left column here, and we are going to duplicate those into the workspace column on the right. Now, in the middle is the curves used column. This is kind of a cheat sheet here. It gives us the number of the tool in the curves menu to create these examples. For example, the second one here is a rectangle. That's what was used to actually make that square. That's the fifth tool in the curves menu. If we look down below here, this is kind of a photocopy, an image, if you will, of the curves menu top bar. And so the fifth button over is, sure enough, the rectangle. Okay, so if we look over here, that's what it's referring to. Now, in order for us to do this properly, it tells us to turn the grid snaps on and be sure they're set to 1/2 millimeter. Here's our grid snaps. Even though the 1/2 millimeter is selected, it's not going to function until we toggle this to on. Now also, for this, we want to be sure that we have our point O snap on because they're giving us a point snap to start that center of circle on our first icon there. So we're going to turn on the point O snap. We're going to go to circle. Okay, center of circle is the point. And if we zoom in there, when we click, we can just count out what we're going to do for the radius. So we've got 3 millimeters across. We'll just click again and be done. Now the next image, or next object rather, that we have is the green rectangular square. So we have to switch layer colors to user 2 by clicking on the name. Then go to rectangle, the fifth icon over. And we are going to start with the first corner of the rectangle. And then it wants the other corner, so we can just count out, looking at the grid there, 3 over, 3 across, until we have the size that we need. I'm going to start the next object to be the red line, so I'll switch to user 1. First icon is polyline. We'll start here, and we'll go up 1.5, or over 1.5 rather, and up 3. Now since the next line needs to be in green, I need to press enter to be done. I need to switch layer colors and then start polyline again. I can snap to the end of the existing line and go down to where it should end. I'll have to press enter again because it changes colors. So we're going to go to user 3. And if I hit the space bar on the keyboard, it's going to start the last command that I used. So notice in the command line it says start a polyline again. So I'll go right there to right there. Okay, here's the tools given. We're going to switch to the green layer and do our arc. And for the center, I might as well use one of these major grid lines here, these thicker white lines. Then I can count out from there for the start and the end. Okay, the next thing is a polyline. It switches to blue. We'll get both of those. Then we'll switch layer colors. And notice this arc is actually being called out as number 9. That is right next to the one we've been using. This one is called arc direction. This one only needs the start and the end of the arc. So we'll snap to these existing lines. Then we'll just come down, and when we like the look of it, we just click again. So the next thing we want is a standard arc, and it's right between these major grid lines. So right in between 2.5 millimeters down from this line, and that's the start, that's the end. Okay, we'll have to switch layers and count this out. Okay, we're back to blue. And since I need just a little arc in here, I'm going to go ahead and do the other blue lines, starting at the end of this arc, or this end of the arc. And we're just going to leave a 1 millimeter gap like it shows between the two blue lines. We're going to switch to our gray user 4 layer and just do another arc. I have to zoom in to see this one. Okay, now it has a red circle and a green rectangle. So we're going to switch to red. We'll do our circle, but when it wants the center of circle, I might as well use um, major grid lines here. So if I go to the major grid line intersection, then I can ensure pretty quickly that I'm counting out correctly. Now once you've done that, all you have to do is pick it up by clicking on it and then push and hold the left mouse button and move it into position. Notice it snaps. It's snapping the center of that circle to the grid, so we can always get it where we need it to be after the fact. Now we'll do the rectangle here, but I'm not going to do it on the correct layer color, so we can look at how we can change things. If it's on, if you have anything that's on the wrong layer color, all you need to do is highlight it, then go to the layer color that you want it to be on, and use the arrow to transfer it over to that layer color. Now you're not going to see the effects of it until you deselect it on the screen. Okay, now we're down to the last one. We're going to do arc direction. Notice that's the only tool that's actually being used to make this. Okay, looks like it's 5 down, 6 across. And I'm just going to move the mouse until I like the look of it. I'll switch layer colors, do arc direction again. This is 1 millimeter off. Then we'll do arc direction again. Okay. So that's 5. Oops. So we'll go back to the red layer color. And we'll do the other arc. Then we'll go back to green, do that again for the other side. And then for the ends, they are using the user 3 blue color. So we just have to do a start and an end for each arc that we want. And there we have that. And then, as just a side note, pressing F7 on the keyboard will hide the grid lines, and F7 will toggle those back on.